This program is designed to provide general information with regards to the subject matters covered. This information is given with the understanding that neither the hosts, guests, sponsors, or station are engaged in rendering any specific and personal, medical, financial, legal, counseling, professional service, or any advice. You should seek the services of competent professionals before applying or trying any suggested ideas. Magazine publisher and entrepreneur Judith Mancini is sharing captivating conversations with experts in their field about the latest trends in our ever-changing world to help you become healthy, wealthy, and wise. Judith Mancini today will spark your interest and inspire you to lead your best life ever. And now, here's Judith.
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Wendy Badra-Hinker. I'm clearly not Judith. She's having a little bit of technical difficulties, so she'll be joining us hopefully in a little while. But she gave me the go-ahead to get started so I could welcome everybody to the call. Thank you for being here. And once again, Judith should be joining us shortly. But like I said, she's having some technical difficulties. So we're going to go ahead and get started, and hopefully she'll be with us soon. So once again, my name is Wendy Badra-Hinker. I am Judith's guest today. I'm from LifeWave, a technology company that has stem cell patches in the form of phototherapy. So we're going to be talking about that. But this morning, Judith also mentioned that she wanted to acknowledge the date, September 11th today, with all the events that happened. And she just wanted a moment of silence and recognition for all the things that happened on September 11th and honoring all the people involved in that. So if we can just take 1 minute together, take a deep breath, and we'll honor everyone on September 11th for everything that happened that day. So if we can just do that right now for 1 minute or so. All right. Thank you for doing that, and blessings to everybody on this extraordinary special day. So the reason Judith asked me to be on her podcast is because I started using LifeWave phototherapy patches almost 5 years ago. I came to the patches because I needed the healing. I was a school teacher, soccer mom, PTA, doing all of the things. I had a Suburban, I was coaching soccer, doing all the things. And, I was relatively healthy, went to the doctor for a checkup once a year, that kind of thing. Well, come along, I thought I had an ear infection, went to the doctor, and it ended up being a brain tumor. So that stopped me in my tracks. I realized everything I was doing had to come to a halt, and I needed to focus on my healing. So, I went through the regular paths. I had surgery, I had radiation, and then something inside me said, stop. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew I didn't want to keep going down that path. It just didn't feel like something I wanted to bring into my life. It felt like it was going to make things worse, not better. I didn't know why, but it just felt that way. So what I did is I started looking around for different options. I'd never been into anything holistic health, so I didn't really know where to start. But luckily, a dear friend of mine introduced me to another friend of hers, just kind of who you know type of thing. And this wonderful woman who is an angel to me started taking care of me. And we started changing my diet, and I started changing my lifestyle, and I started seeing wonderful changes in my life. And so I was able to go back to work as a school teacher. So I was feeling good and ready to go. And then I started teaching again. And shortly thereafter, I started getting symptomatic again, and I could not figure out what was going on. So I went back to the doctor and had the tests, and they all told me that I was normal and I was fine and I was healthy. But I knew I wasn't, because I've always been very active. I've been into hiking and mountain biking and, all the things, very active. And at that moment, I was in my, I think, mid 40s, and I wasn't even able to walk around my neighborhood block without being in pain, even though the doctors all told me I was healthy and normal. So I knew I had to do something. So once again, this same person, she sent me to a naturopath. Luckily, the person did lab work and found, deeper lab work than normally gets done, and found that I had mold toxicity, They checked for Lyme disease. I had all sorts of other bacteria, viruses actively running in my body. And at least I got some answers. So I was feeling better, even though I still didn't feel very good. But just kind of knowing what's going on is always helpful. So I was doing a lot of changes again, and I ended up doing infusions of an antioxidant called glutathione. I didn't even know what that was, but the naturopath told me it would boost my immune system and detox my body. So I thought, great. But at the time, I was unemployed and I was sick, so I couldn't really afford it, but I couldn't afford not to do it. So I was doing the infusions, painful, expensive. And this same friend of mine said, hey, I found some patches and it's glutathione. It's the same thing you're getting in that infusion. And are you willing to give it a try? And I thought, yeah, definitely, no shots, more affordable. And I don't have to drive to the doctor's office. I mean, this was a time commitment as well. So of course, I order a sleeve, they come in this envelope and there's 30 of them inside, and I didn't do much research because I trusted this person wholly and 100%. So I took out a little sticker, it looks about the size of a quarter. It looks like this, if you can see it. And I put it on. I thought, what do I have to lose, right? It's worth a shot. I put it on. Within about an hour, I knew it was working, but because I was having a detox reaction, if you ever had one of those, it kind of just feels like, you're getting a cold or you're getting sick, but it's because your body is pushing out all the toxins. So I knew it was working 100%, but I also took it off. I thought I better do this a little slower. So I called my friend and I said, hey, do you have one for pain? Because really my biggest issue at that time was pain. I had all sorts of different kinds of pain, but the one that caused me the most trouble was joint pain. Every joint in my body hurt. I mean, there were joints in my body I didn't even know I had, except for because they hurt, so that's what made it hard to work. That's what made it hard to exercise and do all the things I needed to do to keep myself healthy. So she said yes. And of course, I ordered that one right away, put it on. And, backing up a little, I'd been at about a level 8 out of 10 pain all the time for months. I mean, I was just living with it. It was my new normal. I remember thinking to myself, well, I guess you better just love yourself the way you are, because this is who you are. I didn't want to be that person, but that's who I was, So I put the patch on, not really expecting much, and I put it on. And within a few hours, and by like about 12 hours, it wasn't even a whole day, my pain came down, and it came down fast. So fast that it felt unbelievable. And so I'm a school teacher by trade. And I thought, wait a minute, I need to look into this. This is crazy. Like, is this in my head? Because what is going on? All of a sudden, my joint pain was really down to about a level 3 or 2. And it was the strangest feeling to feel not in pain. It had been so long. So fast forward, of course, I'm doing all the research now. I'm diving into this like a scientist, even though I'm not, but I was looking at the clinical studies, because honestly, what really helped my skeptic mind, even though I was out of pain, I could feel these working, I still needed to lean into the science. The science is what helped my skeptic mind, that this is really happening. You're not imagining this. So that was really helpful to me. So of course, at that point, I thought, are there more patches? Are there more things I can use? So definitely. So then I started using different patches. The one that is the most important, and the scientist behind the patches, we'll talk about him for a minute, because you can't really talk about this technology without talking about the scientist who created it. His name is David Schmidt. This company has been in business for over 20 years. So it's not a startup company. It's not something that, is around the corner. It's going to show up and leave like some of the other ones out there. This is a solid company, been around for over 20 years. David Schmidt originally started with a contract with the elite Navy SEALs. They enlisted him to come up with a source of energy for the SEALs that wasn't a pharmaceutical, wasn't drug-based. And so he came up with the energy enhancer patches. But funny enough, September 11th happened and they lost the contract because the government needed to focus elsewhere. And David kept focusing on the phototherapy patches. So in that time period, a lot happened. One of the things that put us on the map over 20 years ago was when the Olympic swimmers in Stanford tried the energy patches, and they all were breaking their personal records. So that's what put us on the map. There's a longer story there, but you get the idea. But fast forward, so many patches were invented between now and then. But really, when the big event happened was in 2019, when David created the stem cell patch. It took 10 years and over $4 million for him to create this patch. He is able to make it so that we can put a patch onto our body, a wearable technology on our body that stimulates our own body to create a copper peptide. The copper peptide is called GHKCU. I had never heard of that, but I did hear of peptides before. And copper peptide, what I learned was that it regenerates your own dormant stem cells. So that was very interesting to me because stem cells, I heard of them, of course, most people have. Most of what I knew about them before coming to the patches was that people use them on their knees, and they're really expensive, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So that's about the extent of what I knew. But all I knew was when I was putting this patch on, I was feeling better and better. So I kept using it. So a lot of different things happened with the patches, but one of the things I noticed, and a lot of people noticed in the beginning, is more energy, less pain, better cognition, and many, many other things. But one of them that was really exciting to me was that it resets your gene expression. Now, I didn't really know what all of that meant when I first came in, but when I was diagnosed with my brain tumor, it's called a paraganglioma. I had to look that one up too. And what it was a genetic disease. And so that felt a little bit like a life sentence, like that's never going to change. But when I heard about the patches resetting our gene expression, I thought, wow, this is amazing. I think I'm going to, keep using this because now I don't have to claim this genetic disease. So that was something that was really exciting for me. So when I started patching, I started feeling better. The best thing about it was when I had more energy from the patches, all of a sudden I had the energy to make good food, to go for walks, to exercise. And the best part, though, was that my mood went up. Because if you're like me, if you're in a lot of pain, especially chronic pain, it causes a lot of kind of depression. I felt a little bit depressed, honestly, just because being in pain all the time, it just messes with your mind. It messes with your energy. It's a part of your life all the time. So if you're somebody who's in chronic pain and you're nodding right now, just know that there are options. And this is a great one because so many people I found, I've been doing this for almost 5 years. And so I get to have these amazing conversations with people. And most people, that I talk to them, they're looking for a form of healing that doesn't involve all the pharmaceuticals, stuff from the store. Everything has side effects, but they're kind of at a loss because they need help. You can't just be in chronic pain all the time and function in your life. You have to have some help. And a lot of people, I heard a story of a woman the other day who's been helping her daughter, and she tried everything. So a lot of people out there are trying everything, but you don't know what's going to work. And it gets a little bit exhausting, honestly, trying all these things. And, for a while there, I was taking so many supplements. It was taking me a lot of time during the day to take my supplements. And it just got exhausting. And I would kind of give up. I would just kind of, I can't keep doing this. And so that was a blessing with the patches because at the time with all my symptoms, it was very hard for me to, swallow things, take pills, all of that. But when I put the patch on, nothing goes through the skin. And so I didn't have to swallow it. I didn't have to make sure I, took it every day and mixed it up. All I had to do was put this little sticker on every day. Nothing's going into the skin. So it's not going to contraindicate with any of the pharmaceuticals or the supplements. I could still take all the pharmaceuticals and supplements that I was taking at the time. So that was really great. So I could put it on. And really the best part is I just have it stacked. I put it next to my toothbrush, and it's really a sustainable thing because all you have to do is put it on and take it off. You wear it for 12 hours. So you get it when you order these, you'll get an envelope and there'll be there'll be 30 of them inside, and you put it on in the morning and you take it off at night. Now, some people will add in one for at night, if they're having trouble sleeping, because if you're not sleeping, you're not healing. So there's two patches that I recommend for everybody. The X39 stem cell patch. That's the one that's going to go in. It's going to give your body support. So because your body knows how to heal itself. We put on the patch so that the body can be supported, so that your copper peptide can be elevated, and those dormant stem cells that are sitting there that have started the aging process can wake back up and go to the area of most need in your body. From what I've understood is the aging process starts happening. I've heard different ages, but it's right around the 20 years old mark. And me being 54, I thought, wow, I don't think I have very many of those left. And when I looked at the clinical studies, by age 50, I think it says 75% of my stem cells were not active anymore. And that's the aging process. And the less stem cell activity you have, the slower you heal and the faster you age. So if you think about that for a minute, depending how old you are, the slower you heal and the faster you age. But when you put a stem cell patch on, you're literally reversing the aging process. We're not talking about anti-aging. We're not talking about things like that. There's a lot of stuff that say anti-aging, but we have clinical studies that are backing up that we are reversing the aging process. This is science-backed energy healing. There's nothing like it out there. These are patented. It's also affordable. And for a lot of people, because, when you tell people about stem cells, most people think, oh yeah, I need that, or I know someone who needs that, but I could never afford that. That's usually that was the conversation I had. I thought that would be great, but there's no way I could afford that, a young family, that kind of thing. But when I saw these, I saw that I could use these for $99 a month. And someone told me, well, that's about the same amount if you break it down to a cup of coffee a day if you go to Starbucks. And I thought, all right, well, I think I could pull that one off. And, when you're sick, you'll find a way. That's the thing I found with most people. I was broke and sick, and I found a way to get these patches on my body because really, at the end of the day, this was my way out. This was the way that my body was going to be able to heal. Now, it sounds funny when I talk to people and they say, well, how do they get the stem cells in the patches? How is nothing going in? That's a great question, because there are no stem cells in the patches. There's a light and a frequency. Your body, it uses your body's own light to activate it. So when you put this patch on or near your body, it goes to work, and it goes to the area of most need in the body. It sounds kind of crazy, but I like to liken it to when you go out in the sun. So when you walk out in the sun, your body starts making vitamin D. You're not doing anything. You're just standing there, and your body takes in the sunlight and it starts making vitamin D. Now, I like to say right here that you do not have to stand in the sun to make the patches work. Your body is the energy source that turns on the activity in the patch. So you might have heard me say it can be on or near your body. That's the beauty too. You don't actually have to stick it on your skin for it to work. And it sounds crazy, but the clinical studies prove it. So what that means though, why is that important? People who have thin skin, they may not want to put the patch right on their skin. You can just put it on your clothes and you wear it for 12 hours on, 12 hours off, and drink water. You have to be hydrated with really great filtered water, because the energy will move faster through your body the more hydrated you are. You also want to add some electrolytes. So we want to get the energy moving through your body. The patch starts working the second it goes on or near the body. Some people feel it right away, like I did. I felt it immediately. I knew it was working. Other people put the patch on and they can't feel it, but it's proven to be working the second it's on or near your body. So whether you feel it or not, you can trust that it's working because you can see the science that backs it up. An example I like to give people is a lot of people take vitamin C for all the great reasons, and please keep doing that. But do you feel the vitamin C when you take it every day? No, you don't feel it, but you take it because you know it works, because you see the results. So that's the thing too. A lot of people in the Western medical system, including myself, we're used to kind of a quick fix, even just Advil. You have a headache, you take an Advil, 20 minutes later, you're good to go. But you're also good to go with a big pile of side effects, especially if you're using these things all the time. So the beauty of this is this is your first go-to for when you're having pain, when you have injuries, when you're sick. The first thing you want to reach for is these patches. That's what we do. In my family, if you get a cold, we take a patch. Say you have a sore throat, we're going to put it right there on the throat before you go to bed. If you have a cough, I'm going to put it right there here on your chest. I mean, my daughter, an example, my daughter, she got a horrific burn on her forearm from taking something out of the oven, and there was hot grease on it, so she really had a bad burn. She couldn't go to the doctor, didn't have insurance, all of that. And I just said, put whatever patches you have on, see what happens. She put patches on. She had 3 different kinds. There's various kinds that we have. And then she put a little aloe vera gel, from a plant she had, and she healed in record time. And it was only the patches. It's an amazing testimonial. And I was pretty sure she was going to have a really bad scar, but that's another thing. X39 remodels the skin. So if you have scarring on your body, that was something that happened to me at about the 3-month mark. I had raised scars on my body and they started to flatten. I thought, okay, there's some more outward signs that healing's happening on the inside of the body. That's important, though. Remember to give these time. A lot of people will start, they might use them for a month or something and think, oh, these aren't working. That's not the case. They are working. We know they're working, but you have to give them time. The scientist that created the patches, David Schmidt, said, when you start using these, give it 1 month for every decade of life. So what does that mean? I'm 54. So I would need to give it 5 months to have all of my stem cells regenerated to get the full benefits to see what would happen. So luckily, in about 1 day, I was already sold. And I've been doing this for almost 5 years. And I'm going to be one of those people that's patching forever because age reversal. I feel so much better. I cannot wait to see what I feel and look like and everything when I'm 125 or beyond. Who knows? I mean, who knows where this is going to go? So I'm ready to be the guinea pig because I got my life back with the patches, honestly. I really did. I had kind of given up and surrendered to the way I was living and then realizing that there's actually hope out there. So if you're one of those people right now that's listening to this and you're thinking, my goodness, I really need to give these a try. You're right. You're right. And if it's not for you, it's for someone else. You can use these with children as long as they can talk. You can use these with children. I have a lot of people who have kids who are stressed. I mean, kids get stressed just like adults do, maybe even worse sometimes because they don't even have all the tools to deal with it. But we have a patch called EON. It's anti-inflammation, anti-stress. So when people, kids, adults, anyone puts this patch on, what it does is it calms the nervous system. It feels like this when people put it on. I tell them it feels like this. Every cell in your body takes a sigh, like, I was in fight or flight all the time and I didn't really realize it because as a school teacher, I could stand there and talk and be very calm, but inside I was in fight or flight. And when I put that EON anti-inflammation, anti-stress patch on, all of a sudden, feeling what it felt like to actually be calm, I realized that I hadn't been. And when you're stressed all the time, crazy things happen in the body. Stress, from what I've learned, I'm not a doctor, but what I've learned is stress is the root cause of most chronic disease. So if you can manage the stress, a lot of times the symptoms will come down. And that's what happened to me. So that particular patch I wear every day because we're all managing inflammation every day because we live in this world. So whether you're healthy or not, that's a patch that I recommend for everyone. X39 as well. X39 stem cells, EON, anti-inflammation, anti-stress. Those 2 patches are an outstanding combo. If you're thinking about starting, I would start with those 2. For Judith's community, she has a website. All you have to do is go to lifewave.com/Judith Mancini. You get on there, you can become a partner with us. You can partner with us in this movement of helping people. We are the fastest growing company right now, network marketing, to be able to move this product because you have to be able to hear it from someone. If you put this on the shelf, nobody would know what to do with it. So you have to be able to talk about it. So the company will compensate you for doing that. So if you feel like you want to be a partner up with this, there's different packages. Like I said, you go to lifewave.com/Judith Mancini. You can go there right now. You can click join. There's different packages there. If you're one of the people that thinks, oh, I just want to get this for myself, give it a try, that's great. Grab a core package. It's $295. You can get 3 months of the stem cell patches. This is affordable, really affordable. Or you're already having that list in your head. You got your husband, you got your family, and you're making the list already. There's a package called Advanced that gets you more patches, less price. you can go in there and check that out. But some of you who have an entrepreneur mind and you're thinking, my goodness, this is an opportunity. That a lot of people come in that way. So there's a package set up for you too. It's called Premium. And I don't know any other place where you can have an entire business start for around $1,700 and you have everything you need to get started. So definitely go to her website, order some patches. There's also options to be preferred customers. You can check it out. There's different ways to get in there. I would recommend not paying retail because there's no reason to, but I would say join with us, partner with us, click join and get your patches. Get some for you, get some for your family. I recommend X39 and Eon. So definitely give it a try. It's so worth it. And there's even a money back guarantee within 30 days. If you try them and you think, oh, this isn't for me, then it's a risk-free trial. But like I said, after I've been doing this for almost 5 years, I've never even had anybody do that because the patches work. So if you're sitting there and you're thinking this might be something you want to try, I would say go for it. I mean, you really have nothing to lose because the science is there. You don't have to keep living like you're living. You may be feeling good. I talk to people all the time. Sometimes they'll say, oh, why would I need these patches? I feel great. I don't have pain. I sleep well. I'm happy. I'm, great. And I say, keep doing whatever you're doing because, good for you. But the thing is, you're still aging. The aging process is going on. Your stem cells are declining. So you're going to stay on the aging process. So if you want to stay vibrant and healthy into your older age, you have to do something. You have to reverse the aging process. And you can do that by putting a patch on. And it breaks down to, I think, $3.33 a day. So if you're interested in this, which I can't imagine anybody who would not be, definitely go ahead and order some patches and get started. So it looks like Judith may not be able to join us today. So, but we talked about, Judith and I, tomorrow, we are going to get live on a Zoom room, and we're going to be able to help people with their questions. We're going to go live, answer your questions. If you're interested in that, we're going to do that at 2 p.m. Pacific. And you can get the Zoom link from Judith at her email. And I believe it is judithmancini@mac.com. I may have that wrong. I'll have her get that out to everybody, but I believe that's her email. So if you're interested in joining us on Zoom tomorrow, asking your questions, helping get your patches ordered, Judith and I will both be on there tomorrow to answer your questions. So another thing, since we have a little time left here, another thing that came, a blessing that came to me through LifeWave is, like I said, when I started, I needed the healing. And once I started feeling better, of course, all of a sudden the list started going in my head. I got out a piece of paper and I'm calling my dad and my mom and my sister and my best friend and anybody who was listen to me, and some people did, some people didn't. But I was just thinking, I need to get this out there because the second I started feeling better, I immediately wanted to share it. I was just like, and being a school teacher, I didn't, I wasn't going to go back there because I knew I had to continue my healing. And I felt a calling with LifeWave. I felt like it's a pay it forward. I was able to heal. And I thought, instead of teaching math to 12-year-olds, I mean, I love the 12-year-olds, but teaching this is bringing so much more joy, and I can help humanity this way because this is a global movement. This isn't just a local thing. We can ship these patches all over the world because people need this all over the world. So that was one of the parts of the healing process that I didn't realize was going to be such a big deal for me, was be able to start thinking of what my dream life looked like. I'd never done that. I was a mom. I became sick. I never thought about, what would my life look like in the future, and what would my dream life look like? And somewhere along the way, I was shown the compensation plan for this company, and I really didn't even know what all that meant at the time because, like I said, I was a school teacher. But I did see some pretty big numbers, and I thought, wow, there's some potential there for me to generate an income in a way that I hadn't dreamed of before as a school teacher, because I was kind of capped out at school teacher pay, and I don't know too many millionaires that are school teachers, so it was just nice to know that there was an option. And I started creating this business before I really even realized I was doing it, because I was just sharing with people because I really wanted to help them. But then I started realizing that there was also a business opportunity here. And so I started looking into it, and having zero background, I had to learn everything. everything. And the beauty is I started talking about it and my business started and I learned as I went. So if you're one of those people, you might be somebody who's been in direct sales for a long time and you're on the edge of your seat right now because you can't believe this just dropped into your lap and it's so easy to join. Or you might be like me and have zero experience, but you're thinking, wow, this is something I'd like to be a part of. And, if Wendy Bodger can do it with zero experience, so can I, which is very true, because the beauty that comes along with signing up with Judith is that you get a whole team of us. You get me and you get a lot of other people that are doing the same thing and are willing to help you. So you can make this something you do for just, an hour a week. Or you can do it like me, and I do it every day because I'm enjoying doing this so much. Because what I found is everybody needs this technology. Everywhere I go, people need this technology. So it's embedded into your daily life. All you do, I walk around and I wear it, and people ask me what it is, and I tell them, and they always, either for themselves or someone else, they know that someone needs this technology. Because at the end of the day, we're all looking for something that works well, works fast, and doesn't have side effects. And I like to, jokingly, but in all seriousness, say these have side benefits. So one of my examples is I was on blood pressure medications that they told me it was for my genetic disease that I would be on blood pressure medications forever. Okay, so I took my blood pressure medication every day. There was some side effects, but what are you going to do? So I started wearing the patches, and after a period of time, my blood pressure started coming down. So I got real diligent and I started tracking it and I was watching it. And at this point, I always like to tell people, check in with your doctor. Don't go off any medications or anything. Check in with your doctor first, because I'm not a practitioner, but this is my story. So I started checking my blood pressure 3 times a day. It was kind of more like an experiment, is this really happening? And it slowly came down, and I weaned myself off one blood pressure med, and then I weaned myself off the other one. And then I stayed off and I kept tracking, and I didn't have to go back on them. So whatever was causing my blood pressure to stay up came down, and I wasn't needing the support of the medications anymore. And the side benefits of the patches are things like better looking skin, less wrinkles, more energy, less pain, better sleep. I mean, that's a huge one. Sleep. Everybody I talk to seems like they have trouble sleeping. And if you're not sleeping, you're not healing. The patches help with sleep. So a lot of people are taking pharmaceuticals because they know they have to sleep, but they're getting these horrific side effects. So if you can put patches on to help you sleep, and the side benefits are that you look better and you feel better, I mean, there's no reason to not do this, in all honesty. So like I said, just go to Judith's website, lifewave.com/Judith Mancini. You can go there right now, click join and partner with us and share this movement. I mean, part of my healing was honestly talking to other people and helping them heal. And also part of my healing was becoming financially independent. So the whole package is there. You have physical, you have emotional, you have spiritual, and you have financial. It covers all angles. So if you're looking, if you just need to make $500 to $1,000 a month, and that would make a huge difference in your life, start sharing the patches. If you just want to use the patches and get yours for free, start sharing with a few people. You can't keep this to yourself. I mean, I would feel bad if I was using these patches and not sharing them, because I would feel like I had something that everyone needs and I'm keeping it to myself. So I talk about this, as you can tell, probably I can talk for a long time, but that's because I'm passionate. I'm passionate in letting people know this is out there, because if you're out there and you're suffering, you do not need to be suffering anymore. Sometimes people just succumb to it. They go, well, this is me. I've been in pain for a long time. This is the aging process. No, it's not. That's just what you've been told. The aging process does not look like this. I know a lot of people that have been patching for a while that are in their 80s, and they have more energy than I do. I can introduce you to them. And one of the funniest things that I started noticing was people were starting to join me, and they're in their 70s, their 80s. One of my biggest demographics for business builders are people in their 70s and 80s, because once they start feeling better, they're ready to do something. They're ready to have a focus. And when you're 70 and 80, you got a lot of time on your hands, and you have a lot, now that you're feeling better, you have a lot of friends that can use this. So consider that. you're going to feel better. And then you have a focus, and all of a sudden you're vibrant and healthy, and you're starting to help other people. And that makes a huge difference in your own life. So it looks like we're getting close to the end of our time together. So I'll go ahead and end quickly. I see on the bottom of the screen going across, that's helpful, lifewave.com, Judith Mancini. Like I said, go there now. You can click join to partner with us. That way the company, if you do decide to start sharing, you don't have to, but if you do decide to start sharing, the company can compensate you. Other people come in as a preferred customer. Those are also wholesale pricing. If you just want to be a customer, you never want to share, or maybe you want to try them first and share later, all you do is go to shop and start putting your patches in the cart. But I definitely recommend considering partnering with us, because most people will come in and they'll say, well, if this works for me, then I'm gonna definitely share it. Well, I can tell you it's gonna work for you because it's backed by science. The only way it's not gonna work for you is if you don't put them on. That's the only way they don't work. The other reason some people think, oh, these aren't working, is they don't give them enough time. So don't give it a month and think, oh, this isn't working, because they are working. I'll leave you with this. When I first came in, I had all those health challenges, but funny enough, I had a knee that was always going out and caused me trouble. And even among all the health challenges, my knee bugged me the most. I really wanted my knee to heal. I couldn't straighten it all the way. There was a lot of scar tissue, that kind of stuff. And so I kept watching my knee like, oh, when's that going to feel better? Other thing, luckily, the stem cells, in their wisdom and in my body's innate ability to heal itself, the stem cells went to the area of most need first. And that wasn't my knee. It was my brain tumor and my heart and all those things. But at about the 8-month mark, all of a sudden, I could straighten my knee. There was no pain. It's been almost 5 years. My knee has never started hurting again. I've never had any trouble. But that's because after 8 months, my knee finally became a priority, and the stem cells remodeled the skin. So the scar tissue on the inside remodeled and let loose, and so that I could have my energy flowing. So if you've had surgeries, a lot of surgeries, and you have a lot of scar tissue on the inside, X39 is going to remodel the skin so that your energy can flow freely through your body, because the scar tissue inside also makes your energy flow disjointed. But the point being, if I had looked at the stem cell patches and I only looked at my knee and thought, oh boy, these things aren't really working, my knee doesn't feel better after 2-3 months, then I wouldn't have had this experience. So when you come in, have an open mind, be ready to patch, join on our community. We have Zooms going on all week long. We have a testimonial page in Facebook called Patching for Health and Wellness. You can join that. And like I said, tomorrow at 2 p.m. Pacific, Judith and I will be on Zoom to answer any questions you have, help you get your patches ordered, and everything like that. So thank you so much for listening. Even without Judith here, we'll probably do another one of these where we can be on together and she can talk to you. But for today, thank you for listening. And once you get your patches ordered, Judith or I or both of you will Judith or I or both of us will be in touch with you so that you understand how to use these and how to be supported while you patch, because you're not alone when you do this. When you decide to go in and use the patches to help yourself heal, you have a support system here that's ready and willing and able to help you. So thank you again for being here. And I look forward to hearing from you and all of those that are going to be joining Judith in the patching community. All right. Have a great day. Bye for now.